Gotta commit to the climb. You know we're back with the Guinness, setting records every minute, every track, in addiction to the fact that we're winning. Still we lack, something's missing, need a track that is hitting, making racks, making millions. That's the mission. I don't waste time, no, I make time. All these people wanna hate, fine, I'ma make mine. While you sitting there complaining, I'll be training. While you sitting there just waiting, I'm creating.
Yeah, sometimes I think that I'm unstoppable. Yeah, ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right, I swear to God that I can drop it, bro. Yeah, I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. Yeah, everybody knows that I'm breaking down. Everybody knows I ain't faking now. Everybody knows my heart's vacant now. Yeah, she hates me now, I made mistakes but now I don't ever wanna be alone. I don't really ever feel at home. On my own, in the zone, that's the only way I know. Feeling low, about to blow back up. Here I won't ever let the doubt creep in. Gotta pop a couple more aspirin. I don't think I'll ever let you in. Easier to break it off best friends. I don't really understand myself. I don't really understand, need help. I don't wanna be left on the shelf. Couldn't even hear me if I yelled. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold. Break down, always feel like I could break now, but I never let it take me to that place now. I won't ever let my thoughts get away now. I got better things to do, picking fate now. I just wanna be the best, call me great now. I don't know if I'm okay or insane now. I remember better days on the playground, hoping I can find my way to even when I'm feeling down, I fight, even when I don't know what is right. I'ma pick a side, and I'ma take pride. I will decide my fate, and I will never let them tell me who I am. If you try to shape me, I'll be damned. Planet on the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold. you got me shook from the way your body looks. Got me riding hooks, got me feeling like a rook. I don't do it by the book, but for you I'll take a look. Don't know what your mama took, sweet and spicy like a cook, yeah. I'll keep it real, let's make a deal. Buy you a meal if you just let me feel. Get out your heels, grab on the wheel. Back to my place at the top of the hill. Don't have regrets, I know what's next. She need a fresh, I'll be back in a sec. Look at them legs, don't make me beg. Back to the room, let me show you my bed. Yeah, your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. I could look at you all day, watch the way them hips sway. Love your body, so I pray, don't you dare take it away. Can't control what I say, lost my mind cause your frame. Hey girl, what's your name? Lit me up just like a flame. Body in motion, I feel the commotion, be on you like lotion. I'm honest and broken, I flow like the ocean. I feel you were chosen to fix me, I'm broken. My heart that you stolen, hey. Stay with me, play with me, lay with me. Hate to see when you leave, chemistry feels like it's destiny. I just want you laying next to me, and I really don't want you to ever leave. On your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. I have a dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the NEXXTCAR podcast. Man, it has been quite a while and some things have changed since the last time we were here. And some of those things that have changed are with the two individuals that are joining us here tonight. Peyton Tulloch, your Cup Series champion for Season 3 in the NEXXTCAR Racing League, doing his Ross Chastain impression. And then Matt Tucker. He is now a Truck Series champion as well, winning Season 3. So both these guys now champions, and I definitely have got to step up my game. What's going on, fellas?
How's it going, Roddy? Been a while.
Oh, man.
It has, man. It has been quite a while. Basically, a little over a month since our last podcast. Just things got out of hand. A lot of, we were all pretty busy and stuff. But hey, let's get back to it. I mentioned it. A lot of things have changed since we last did the podcast, and yeah, let's talk about championship weekend. Both of you guys, start us off, Tuck. Got your first Truck Series championship, putting it on your shelf right next to your Cup Series from Season 1.
Yeah, so if like people who've tuned in with our season, that weren't aware that we shortened it due to some lack of participation, and we just wanted to have a 3-week playoff to kind of reward the guys. So we ended up having that, and I think, well, in the end, I had a win the last race of the season. I think I had that second at Daytona. I forget where was the first week. I forget, but
Iowa,
yeah,
I believe.
So it was Iowa. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I was the one that had the most points throughout that 3-week stretch, and holding the trophy at the end. It's definitely a Mickey Mouse trophy. It's not one that I've earned, like the whole playoff thing, but nonetheless, I'll just take it and move on to Season 4. So glad to have another championship underneath my belt.
See, I'll disagree with you on the whole Mickey Mouse thing. Yeah, the season was shortened, but we still ran 12 races. It still went down as the longest season in NEXXTCAR history on iRacing. It's not like we were doing 10 races and we are like, hey, we're shortening it to 6 or 7. Right. So I disagree with you a little bit on that. Yeah, obviously it doesn't have the full 16 race season, but you still had to earn it. Like you said, 3 races in the playoffs, and you got it done when it mattered the most, right there at Phoenix. So I'll disagree with you a little bit on that one.
I guess we can say that to a point because with the scenario that we had, so it was just a good. The three tracks that we had with, like you said, Iowa and Dega and Phoenix, those all fit me really well, and I like all those three tracks. So that was good. It was a fun stretch battling Peyton for those two titles that we had. So he ended up getting me in Cup, and I got him in Trucks. So it was fun. So, but we have those friend rivalry stuff that everybody just has in our league. So it's good to be a part of, and looking forward to next season with everybody.
Absolutely. Shifting to the other side, Peyton still staying with Trucks though. Man, just like season 1, just one position short from getting that championship.
Yeah, man, it's funny because I've always hey, I get it. I mean, I've always said I like trucks more next gen, and like I really like the trucks, but I just really have bad luck in there. It seems like I'm always just right there, but never can quite get there. Having 2 of the 3 seasons losing the championship by 1 spot, that stings. And I'm glad we're doing the podcast today and not like Monday before the Cup race, because my tone would have been a little different. That was heartbreak because it's rough, man. You get that close and then to realize like just 1 spot, that sucks. But yeah, I will disagree with Tuck though as well on the Mickey Mouse Championship. I mean, I get it. I get that we had to shorten the season, like Ronnie said. It's the longest season we had. Everybody had stuff from the regular season roll over, so everybody had, like, it wasn't like the regular season for nothing. There was definitely an advantage for what you did in the regular season, and Tuck showed up. I mean, he had great races and won when he needed to, just like I did in Cup. So much earned. So congrats to Tuck on truck, and hopefully I can get him next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And switching back to you, Tuck, the Cup race, or I'm sorry, the truck race definitely was not uneventful for you. You know, yeah, you went out there and win, but it was a hard fought win, especially in those closing laps. You had to battle your teammate and fellow championship contender and Andrew Bolander, who should be joining us at some point tonight, hopefully.
He will not be able to.
All right, so he will not be. So we won't be able to get his take on it. But
Yeah.
walk us through those closing laps and all the battles that you had to, because I mean, you had quite a few 2-3 wide battles yourself there.
Yeah, throughout that whole race, I mean, me and it seemed like David found each other that whole first stage that we were running. So we implemented a stage in these 3 race playoffs. So it was like a halfway break, testing stuff out. But yeah, so midway through that first half, me and David were just battling, and it seemed like him and Nick, Don Francesco were all equal. So we were all just eating each other's stuff up that whole first run, and then I don't remember battling Peyton at all. It just seemed like that we just never were around each other. We're on different strategies. Well, he would pit, and then I would stay out. Then I would pit, and then he would stay out. So yeah, it was just all jumbled up, and then down to sit with me and with Andrew. We just racing hard. We were on, we just pitted with 20 to go, and we're on 4 fresh tires, and Alberto stayed out, or he took 2 tires, and so we were just all trying to gain everything we can down to the 20 laps to go, and no one's gonna give really anything. So we went in there 3 wide, and Cat got back to the gas a little too quick, and it spun around. So yeah, so we were all right there, and it was just hard racing. So there was no intent. No one hit anybody or anything. So so we were just all going for it, and so that's what I would expect him to do in that situation, and anybody else. I mean, you or Peyton or anybody. So if you're not in it to like give a 100% each week, then why we don't do this. So, but nonetheless, it sucks that he spun around. So, but we'll just move on from it and just go into next year. So everybody's still gonna be fine. So, but we'll see. So we'll see how it goes. So I bet it was exciting for you in the booth. I haven't went back and watched your call of it. So
It was, man. Honestly, both the last 2 races were absolutely fantastic for both series. Cup and Truck. We had Talladega and then Phoenix. Two absolutely different tracks from each other, obviously, but just both tracks provided some of the best racing we had seen all season long. Yeah, when you look at the Cup side of things, sure, we ended up with 9 cautions, but 7 of those 9 came within the first like 60 laps.
Right, yeah.
And then we went that 100 lap stint basically of green flag racing. And that is what you absolutely love to see. Yeah, we might start the races out, but then we all learn from it and we all improve as the race goes on, which is what it's all about. And yeah, both races, the last 2 races in both the Cup and Truck were just absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, I was losing my voice at the end of that Truck broadcast. Did you watch it at all, Peyton?
Yeah, a little bit. The Truck Series there at the end was just crazy. I mean, we went into Phoenix like after having a 3-race playoff. We had 2 races down. We had 5 guys that were so close in points.
Mhm.
Any of them winning basically won them the championship. And
Who
I
were
think
the
you could
5?
argue it was
You,
me, Chuck,
You,
Kat,
Don
Andrew,
Francisco,
Don Francisco,
David,
and
David. And then don't forget Steve, man. Steve wasn't too far behind you guys either.
Yeah, Steve.
So if you guys would have had a rough race, say Cat would have lost internet again, or you guys would have. I mean, he was only like 5 points behind Peyton.
I think
but if he had
7,
needed a
I think,
bigger
actually.
field, though, if he
Right.
had a bigger field,
Yeah.
okay.
But
still, like, and
Until
not
you
only
call it.
that, you have that many people, going for it. And I think at a point of the race, you could argue that any of those 5 trucks was one of, if not the fastest truck. We all had our moments where we looked extremely fast, and in the end, Tuck gets it. So that was one of the most crazy battles I've ever been a part of, and it was hard fought but clean racing, and you gotta love that.
the only time that 17 truck did not look fast was on the restarts. I don't know what you were doing on them restarts, but that Chevy was not firing off.
He wasn't
Amen.
going below the yellow line on the start.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
Mr. Cheating over here.
It's
I wasn't
it's
cheating.
crazy to think. It's crazy to think. It's been so long we did podcasts. Like I've kind of fully changed driving styles at this point with my new wheel. I mean, I was full on long run saving tires. That's not like me before. So I was just being backing off, and hey, it almost worked out. Like I almost was able to work through the field with Tuck and them racing at the end with saving my tires, and just couldn't get there. But yeah, I will say there was a little bit of controversy and good old Tuck here at Phoenix, but hey, I just like messing with them. There's missed calls in every sport. We've all probably had something happen that race control didn't see or something. So while I give him crap for it, it much deserved championship for Tuck.
Yeah, good job in Cup too. You got me loose.
Hey, it was
That was
clean.
fun too. Yeah, it was clean.
Yeah, let's switch it over to the Cup side of things. Obviously, Peyton, you got your first. Man, it was a big last 2 weeks for you. You got your first win ever at Talladega, and then you backed it up with the championship.
Well, technically, he got a win in Xfinity.
We don't count
I mean-
Xfinity short track
Okay.
series.
Okay,
Hey,
all right.
We ended the Xfinity series halfway through the
That's true.
season.
That's true.
I
We want to talk
I-
about Mickey Mouse championships. We'll talk about Peyton's
Hold on.
modified and Xfinity championship stuff.
I still think Xfinity. I'm counting Daytona because we had a good field there. So I mean, with all the rest, we had a lot of people there. But modified, I was kicking butt and everybody left. So I get it, but I at least did something for that. Okay, something. Xfinity, yeah, okay, the field.
Yeah, that's it.
But
All right, so
Nailed-
you got your first technical Cup
Nailed
win.
that one.
hey, I will say for the top 2 series of NEXXTCAR though, I wanted to go back and count it up. So season 1 and 2, did we do 10 races both seasons?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, and then we did before Dega, we had 10 races, and Dega was the 11th win or race. So in total, so that's 40 races, and then that's oh my lord. So I was 61. I was 61 races in the top 2 series. That's adding truck and cup together that we've done on iRacing with 0 wins entering the Dega race. And shout out to Ronnie and Sheep. Sheep might not be a technical teammate for us, but he sure was that race. And
Yeah, he was. He helped a lot. Without him, you don't get the win.
Yeah, it'd have been really hard. It would have been really hard. But it's funny looking back. I mean, we could have battled for that. If I'd have won Phoenix, how's that 2020? But anyways, finally getting that win, man. Like I've been so close in both series. I have a lot of second place finishes. It feels like, and the 60-second try to finally win one, and then the following week win again, and then get a championship. I mean, it has been an incredible like 8 days for me, because I mean, it sucks to be so close so many times and just not get there. And I'm still looking for our first winning truck. Hopefully, it'll come next season. But yeah, man. I mean, I went on tear at the end of the season. I mean, it took everything. It took a second at Richmond, a win at Dega, and a win at Phoenix for me to beat these guys in Tuck and Cat. So it was a hell of a battle for Cup. And man, I mean, I was worried at Phoenix. There was moments I didn't think I had a shot, but hey, that's why you never give up. And here we are.
So you said it was how many races? 60 something?
61. It was
So-
my 62nd race in truck or Cup.
So,
That's
all right.
low.
So, what I'm hearing is based on the ratio, you are the Michael Waltrip of the NEXXTCAR Racing League.
Yeah, kind of, man. Hey, at least
There's some other guys that are
Zero.
Next season.
What was Mikey? He was what? 0 for 470?
462. 462.
Look, man.
Oh,
At least I finished like top 5 a lot. Okay, Mikey, that wasn't the case. But hey, I will say maybe I can become the first person to win a super speedway race in every series. I got an Xfinity one, which I guess no one can get now, and I got a Cup one, so now I just need truck. So maybe a Daytona next season I can get that. Then I'll be truly Michael Waltrip, or maybe Dale Jr. Maybe that's a better comparison. Just really good super speedways.
No, by this point, Junior had several wins.
I thought you were gonna be the Jamie McMurray of the NEXXTCAR race.
And maybe. But
That's a
hey.
good. That fits you good.
But Tuck, you had a pretty solid Cup race going.
Yeah, and then I led like the first 50, 60 laps,
Mhm.
and then I pitted, just trying to get off the little strategy because I knew we had that stage coming up, and tried to take myself out that whole like first lap. When we got those new tires on. I out hit Peyton at the wall. You guys thought I broke my stuff, and that was eventful. But then I'll tell you what, right after that stage, it was like lap 100 to lap 130. We had a good stint of like 40, 50 laps where the top 4 guys were all like just 1 through 4 trading positions like we were at the freaking New York Stock Exchange on freaking like Monday. So we were all like just like going back and forth. Like I would lead, then Nick would lead, and then Nick would get loose. Cat would pass him. Cat would lead a few laps, and then here comes Peyton at the end of it. So yeah, we all battled each other pretty clean that whole run. That's probably the best stretch of racing I can remember, where we were all on the same equal tires, and within like a second it was all top four. So, but then after the pit stops, Cat had some trouble. Peyton went a little bit longer before he pitted, so he had about 12, 15 lap fresher tires than I did, and he just got me at the end. And then I tried to push to get him back, and about wrecked it going down the front stretch. So, and that was it. Then we just hoping for a yellow. The yellow never came. I mean, you and Andrew tried to bring out a yellow flag a couple when I heard, but you did it. So, and then Peyton goes on and gets his watermelon championship. So that's basically the recap of the whole race, I think. So.
Man, you thought Kat was mad at you after Sunday night. If me and Andrew would have brought out a caution in them closing laps, I don't think
Right,
Peyton
how
would
mad
ever
Peyton
talk
is.
to me ever again.
It'd be like Martin Truex Jr. saying, when your teammate is in
Yeah,
the lead,
exactly.
it should be a team rule that you don't wreck.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you tried your damnedest to. And you're the team captain.
Yeah, me and Andrew ran, I don't know, probably the last 15, 20 laps side by side through the dog leg, beating and banging off each other. If you watch the recap, it was insane. But
Yeah, if you want to laugh, go watch the last like 15 minutes or 15 laps of the Cup race on Ronnie's stream, because that is peak content of me being a nervous wreck while Ronnie is trying to find any way possible to
I
cause
just
a caution.
imagine Peyton, this is how he looks when he's driving.
Not only that,
Just
we have
shaking like
Alberto.
that nervous.
Alberto is sitting here
Like,
trolling
what
as
the
well,
heck?
talking about like half the field wrecking. Like, yeah, that was.
Alberto sold it perfectly too, because like his voice got high pitched and everything. Like it was perfect.
If he wasn't right in front of me,
crazy-
because it took me a second to realize. If he wasn't right in front of me, I'd have been scared for a good 5-10 seconds because I thought for sure something had happened.
And then
He sold it good.
the sad part was me and Andrew. It was right after Alberto did that, and me and Andrew running side by side, and I got loose underneath him like at a 45-degree angle. I go, oh shit, and then Payne goes, shut up. I was like, dude, I legit almost wrecked there. My bad. And Peyton goes, dude, just let him go. He's like, is it even for position? I was like, no. He's a whole lap ahead of me. But yeah, man, that was a rough race though for me. I think I brought out like 3 or 4 cautions myself, just spinning it out of 2. Could have brought out another one right in front of you, Matt, while you were leading. I was sideways.
That was a little scary. So, but you held on to it though. You just waited for the next 15 laps to try to wreck it, but you didn't though. So
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about Phoenix this year. I mean, the only difference is we ran it at night compared to season 2, but it was even looser. Like you could tell iRacing has done something with that setup or something. Like I had a lot of confidence because I was really strong here in season 2. Really coulda, shoulda, woulda won that race, but didn't. Typical me. But
well, I went back and if you look at my stream, when were the next gen cars introduced? 2022, right?
yeah, last year.
The setup was for 2021. If you look at my stream.
Well,
And
weren't
the
the next gen
top
cars like
right.
released in 2021 though?
I know they did the testing.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So I wonder
I
if
don't
that
know.
had played any part in it, but
Yeah, I wonder if you can check like the setups from like previous. I wonder what we did last time we ran Phoenix and then this time.
yeah,
Maybe
they're
we're
still on
different-
iRacing. I can go in there
Okay.
and see what setup and everything.
Okay, well, I think what was also crazy, not only did Phoenix feel different, but I didn't realize how big of a strategy race it was going to be. Like the stage break, which I'm excited to have stage racing next season because it adds a lot of strategy.
Mhm.
Like a big part now. Having that, even if it's just one stage breaker race, having that one planned caution you know is going to come out around that time, like really affects the race. And like early in the race, I mean, you can hear it if you watch Ronnie's broadcast of it. If you want to hear the strategy, I mean, we're talking strategy. I'll get our race because at the beginning of the race, like Cat on old tires just pulled us, and like it seemed like well maybe new tires aren't really that great, and that kind of was influencing my strategy at the end. And I finally get ahead of these 3 and start pulling them after saving tires. And they all come down, and I thought that wouldn't be the call, and then they start running a second quicker than me on new tires. So it became a massive strategy race. I did not expect that for Phoenix. So it put everybody on a different strategy and made it extremely interesting.
Yeah, before we move on, let's talk about the heartbreak from Phoenix though, man. David Chandler, that whole incident with Kat and Tuck and Alberto and Andrew getting loose underneath them. I mean, that's what ended David's championship bid there, because he just had nowhere to go. Ran into the back of Andrew. Man, that was 2 nights in a row. Andrew had someone just obliterate the back bumper. I obliterated his back bumper in like 25 to go. That could have brought out a caution there, but yeah, I mean that ended David's run, and he had a pretty solid run going too. I don't know if he had the pace to get up there and battle for the win, but he had a pretty solid run going there.
Yeah, both Andrew and David are going to be really hungry next season.
Mhm.
Both entered the playoffs as the regular season champion, and they both had a massive advantage going into the playoffs. And, Andrew started the playoffs winning at Richmond, and I remember being 15 points back after that race, and I was like, man, I'm in trouble. And David, he had a really good gap, and I know both of them really started rough at Talladega. I mean, David has an unlucky break at the end of the Talladega race, puts him in the herd with us, brings him back down to us. And Cat, I mean, unfortunate storm takes him really out there. So the good news for Cat is like mathematically, it was going to take a really good race for him at Dega to win the championship with how everything played out. But yeah, both of them, something unlucky happens, and then you go to Phoenix, and both had their issues there. So both guys, won races this year, both are really fast, and both leave empty-handed. So I'm really interested to see what those two do next season.
Yeah, I think David was up front the whole whole truck race because started up front. I don't know how he got to the back though. I think it was just pit strategy. I don't know if he
No,
pitted
he
or
wrecked
what,
himself off the front of Don Francisco, and then he
Oh, yeah,
was
that's
never
right.
able to rebound. Basically,
That's right. I remember that because I remember Nick saying that he wasn't clear.
Mhm.
But okay, that makes sense then why he was. Because I was like,
because
where'd
that's where he
Pittman
used
go?
his first fast repair, and then when he
Okay.
rear-ended Andrew, then
he was
he was
just
done.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was
makes
like
sense.
really close to each other, right? Like, did that happen like the restart after, or?
I don't. Maybe one or two restarts after, because David was never able to pass anyone and get back up there. He basically Paul
That-
Tracy'd himself
I
off of
totally,
Don Francisco.
I totally forget why that caution. Oh yeah, because Buck like obliterated the wall and his front
Yeah.
bumper was laying out. Okay, that makes that.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean, David showed up every week, so
hmm
he's been the one guy that's like been here every single weekend. So you gotta give him credit where credit's due. He shows up and he's gotten a few wins this year too. So he's improved. We've all and I think with him knowing that he can compete, he'll be probably one of, if not the one of the favorites next year for both Cup and Juniors. So we still haven't seen all the new guys that we're be adding, but with the guys that we have had on our first couple of seasons, he's really been one that it's going to be running up front like week in week out.
Absolutely, we're gonna have quite a few people. I just added 6 people today, so
Yeah, I had one
we
message
should
to
be
the
pretty good.
Facebook page. So
Yeah, that was one of the guys I added.
Okay, gotcha. So
What's crazy is
up and up for NEXXTCAR.
Yeah, and I think the competition next year is going to get even more and more close. I mean, while we already have a lot of guys that have a lot of speed and a lot of talent in here, and a lot of guys are starting to, go up the ladder of the tiers they're in, but you still got those guys like those tier 2 drivers that are really close to like hitting their moment. Like I think of like Cole Larson, he's getting really like better and better every race. I could see him being a threat next season. I just thought of somebody and he left my mind. Oh, Alberto. Alberto's been really close to having his breakout race. I feel like
he would have won earlier this year if that caution didn't come out.
So yeah, and there's more guys, but we have a lot of guys with a lot of talent in here, and you know why some of us, it's taking a little bit longer to get going, but there's some guys like me. It took me a while to finally find some speed, but the league gets more and more tough. I mean, looking back at like season 1 to now, the league has dramatically improved. I mean, dramatically. You don't see I mean, yes, you see some silly mistakes, but nowhere near as bad. You don't see that like boneheaded, what are you doing mistake out of this league almost at all anymore. So I'm telling you, next season with playoffs, some guys have a chip on their shoulder, new guys. I think next season is just going to be insane.
Hey, going back to your Facebook chat, Ronnie. Back to one topic. Peyton's mom says, "Hey, now Walter has no championship." So, LOL. So.
Yeah,
Hey,
I see
that
it
is
over
true.
there. And then, you mentioned that the new guy's coming in. Well, let's talk about someone that was just re-added today. He's in here. He just commented on YouTube. Camaro is back in NEXXTCAR.
That's not the guy I thought that would come in on YouTube that would be coming back, though. So, Ronnie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So Camaro is back in NEXXTCAR, so that should be very interesting.
Heck yeah.
The light of the NEXXTCAR Racing League, that is the Mr. Robert Babcock. So.
I'm excited to have Camaro
absolutely.
back. Even if he's the guy that got under my skin and cost me a championship, I'm excited to see Camaro back. I'm sure he's.
All right, hold on.
You want to talk about
Camaro did not cost you a championship.
Hey,
you costed yourself a championship by trying to wreck him in the 4th corner at Iowa, and you lost yourself 7 positions.
To be fair, I got peer pressure to that. I had 2 guys in my ear like, "You gotta get him back." All right, and I did. So that's still my fault and my actions, but like, I'm excited to see Camaro back, though. I've seen what he's doing in other leagues. He seems to be getting a lot better. And you want to talk about a guy with a chip on his shoulder. I think Camaro will be one of those guys for sure. So, yet again, more and more talent is getting in the league.
Over under 2.5 weeks when I get him on my team, requested trade away from Blue Collar Racing. So.
He might go into the draft like Eli Manning and be like, "I refuse to be drafted by Blue Collar Racing."
refuses to sign the contract.
Yeah, not signing.
We have contracts? What?
Yeah, Peyton signed with ADR through 2050.
Apparently, I'd like to see the money on that and where I signed. But hey,
That's
sure.
the longest tenured deal I think in the history of
Well,
league sport.
Right.
He finally made me look smart. He's my number 1 overall pick, and he did absolutely nothing for 2 seasons. And then finally, talk about breakthroughs. He
Dude,
finally
if we're
does.
still on iRacing in 25 years, we gotta look back on this date and like, oh, Peyton's contract's over. Time to go to a different team.
January 1st of 2050. Man.
Yeah,
Oh god.
we're all in our like middle age. We're like running hosted lobbies, and we gotta change the contract.
But man, so yeah, very pretty good championship race. Quite a bit got us to this position. Obviously, you mentioned it earlier. The season was cut short due to lack of people attending the races and stuff. It wasn't really the truck series that was hurting so bad. It was more so the cup side. The trucks were still doing decent, and that's something that really honestly surprised me this weekend was the number of people that showed up, and it was fantastic to see. 18 people in the truck series showed up, and then 11 or 12 in cup. I don't remember which, but honestly, a lot more than I expected to sign up or to show up, because I figured, there's only 5 people in the truck series that can win it. I'm expecting like 8 or 9 to be there. And then to log in and see 18 people, I was like, that's pretty cool. Where you all been all season?
Well, it just shows how many loyal guys we have that have been around. Like, even back when we were on Heat, like, we had, like, that last race, we'd only have 6 guys show up because there was nothing to race for. So, but no, that just shows the kind of, like, brotherhood that we all have with one another. So, just coming out every single Sunday and Monday night with each other. So, and we've just added to our NEXXTCAR the time we've had on iRacing too. So I think just having the loyal guys that stuck around with us is what's like kept our numbers up in a way. So we've had some that have came in, some that came out, but when you have your core group that's going to stick around, they'll all be here Sunday and Monday nights.
Yeah, I think it also
good.
shows.
Your audio, by the way, Tuck, keeps cutting in and out.
Yeah, a little bit.
What the heck? Hold on.
Yeah, check that out. But I think it also shows the
There we go.
fact of how many people have bit into the new ideas of season 4. I think once that kind of got announced, and I know we did the playoffs, and I got some guys to come back as well. But I think a lot of guys see the potential of where we're heading with the league, and it really kind of bit into it. And I think that's what's really helped our numbers the last few weeks. Even guys that have absolutely nothing to race for, just pride and trying to steal a win or something. But yeah, I think it's a good sign for NEXXTCAR. I mean, we got a lot of guys already signed up, and we haven't even. I mean, we're just starting recruiting, so and we have a week and a half, 2 weeks. So
2 weeks.
Yeah, so I think it shows just how far we can go. I mean, if we're getting these kind of numbers on a championship race, that gives me a lot of faith on what we'll have week 1 of next season.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned some of the changes that probably got a lot of people into it. We can hit on a couple of them real quick. Don't want to do we'll dedicate a whole podcast to that later on. Obviously, we're going to do our draft day and everything, but some of the key changes that have been implemented already in these last couple of races is stage racing. That's huge. You're not going to be out of it in lap 5. You're going to get back into it and everything. That's going to keep people interested. You mentioned it,
Stage
Peyton.
points too, right?
You said what? Yep, stage points as well.
Points,
Yep. Obviously, using NASCAR's the top 10 get the stage points. So, what else was there? The choose cone rule. That's kind of big for the leader to be able to choose where he wants to restart. And then you got playoffs, like you just mentioned, Peyton. That's huge as well, because now, like you said, you give these guys something to race for. You get through those first 10 races, and then guess what? It kind of gets reset. You're right back in it. If you went into the playoffs 100 points behind the leader, well, based on how many stage points and everything like that, you might be 20 behind him now, so you're right back in it. And then the big change, that I think is going to be a huge part next season, is the time change. We're not going to be racing till 11:30 anymore at night. Where it's going to be 10 or 10:30 now, which is absolutely huge, moving everything up 40 minutes. Practice opens up at 7:30, qualifying at 8:20, gridding at 8:30 versus 9:10, the race starting. So that's going to be huge. You're going to have those guys that, like David Chandler, who wasn't able to race in Cup this season because he couldn't afford to stay up that long. Well, now he's going to be able to get done with races an hour prior, so now he's going to be able to race in Cup, and I think that's going to be huge, and that's going to be more appealing to people who have to get up the next morning and go to work.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have, and that also opens up a ton of possibilities. More guys seeing what the start time is, and like joining instead of like seeing like it start at 9 o'clock. So so it could give more guys opportunities to be able to race, not just with us like having a little extra time beforehand or after the fact, but the new guys that'll be joining are gonna have a fresh perspective, and just as what we will be. So, but yeah, so I think the start times are going to be beneficial for.
The problem's going to be remembering the first couple of weeks and be like,
yeah.
It's 9 o'clock.
Well,
Let me go
9
race.
o'clock.
And
We've
what do you
done
mean
9
we're 83
o'clock
laps
forever.
in?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been at 9 o'clock since our heat days.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
exactly.
sure that was like season 1 on Heat. We've been at 9 o'clock.
They're like 7:30. Why are we getting on so early? It's an hour and a half. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was our adjustment when we went to our racing, showing up an hour earlier to practice, and now you got us showing up even earlier to race. So it's going to be a little bit of adjustment, but I think at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a big change for NEXXTCAR, and it's going to, like Ryan said, add more people that can race and stuff. So I think it's a good call.
I totally forgot, like back in our Heat days, like we literally just would jump in like at 9 o'clock and then just race. We wouldn't have an hour of practice.
You didn't need to practice.
No, exactly. So that's just the crazy thing about it.
We would do that little tiny qualifying race to get down a lap, and then that was your practice and qualifying in one, and then there we went. See ya.
Man, it's crazy.
It's great. Yeah, it's crazy to think about that now. It's like how different things have changed.
Yeah, I went back and I watched, it was probably, I don't know, a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months. I went back and watched like an old Heat broadcast that I did, and I was like, oh my God, people watch this? Like, it was atrocious, man. No ticker, no tower, no nothing. It was
the thing that also sucked was that you didn't know what position people were in. So
no.
you had to look back through everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, I'd have Nick.
And then you couldn't just go to exactly the right person. You have to actually find them. Like you have to go from driver to driver. So.
Yep, it's definitely big improvements with iRacing, no doubt about it. But all right, what else y'all want to talk about next car?
Well, real quick, before I forget, I do want to shout out my boy Jimmy Emos for the shirt. We were kind of talking about it one day, and he was talking about making shirts and stuff. And, I was kind of joking, saying, if you made them, I'd buy one and wear it on the podcast. And he hit me up saying that he would make me one for free as long as I were on the podcast. So here we are. Thank you, Jimmy Emos, for the shirt, man. Longtime member of NEXXTCAR. You're a legend. Thank you, Jimmy.
And Jimmy Emos did have a career run going at Talladega.
He did, man.
He was literally like feet away from a top 5 finish until he got right hook. That man would have had a top 5 finish, his first ever at Talladega until he got.
I'm telling you, bowl. I mean, I don't know about bowl, but Jimmy gonna get like a top 5 next season because he's been so close, especially super speedways. Like we talk about Steve being really good at them. I feel like I'm getting up there, but that's just me personally. But Jimmy's really good at super speedways, man. He rides around, stays out of trouble. Then at the end of the race, he's like, where did he come from? It's Jimmy. And I mean, he's right there. So he almost got top 5 at Dega, and you never know. Maybe he can get a win there. So shout out to Jimmy yet again.
We talk about like Alberto and his major improvement. Jimmy improved a lot from season 1 to season 2, and then to where we are now. I remember when we were back in season 1, and it seemed like every caution. Well, there's Jimmy involved again. Then in season 2, it's like we went with the teams, and I don't remember what team he was on.
He was on JD's team.
He was on JD, and they helped him. Mm-hmm. I remember JD saying, that they were helping him, and big improvement into season 2, and then now into season 3. Like you said, feet away from getting his first top 5 until he got right hooked. Which obviously, the guy that hooked him won his fault. He got taken out, but
everybody's racing hard to
right.
win, so I mean, Talladega. So.
Exactly.
Talladega, yeah.
So
no, but just him being that close just shows the improvement that he's had from the start. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy, by the way, I want to say it on podcast. I see you trying to get like a rap career, music career. You drop a CD, I'll buy that as well. Okay, there you go. Here's your next thing.
All right. So something else that we're introducing next season with the podcast is awards. I talked about it a little bit there in the prelude into the season or in Discord, but we're going to be announcing some weekly awards and stuff throughout the podcast, and that'll be cool. Give more things for these, more incentives for these guys to go out and battle for. We're going to have the Hard Charger Award. We're going to have, some of them are obviously going to be figured out during the race, like the pole position, the fastest lap, stuff like that. But, you're going to have the Hard Charger, the driver, the series, and all that. So that's going to be pretty cool to give these guys a little more incentive to race for each weekend too. Add a little more stuff for them.
Camaro says, "I am good, whoever get me."
Yeah, I saw that. But he did say, "Let's go Peyton." So
okay, there you go.
There you go. But I mean, yeah, I think the podcast will be pretty good next season. I mean, we're going to try to hit more NEXXTCAR stuff. Because at the end of the day, I think a lot of us watch like the Dale Jr. stuff and Danny Hamlin's thing. But anywho, so you get your NASCAR content, and while we'll still hit on it on here a good bit, but we're gonna start trying to hit that NEXXTCAR stuff more and more. So I think next season will be really exciting. I mean, we'll start giving more shout outs to everybody in the league, and there's a lot of stuff we could sit here and talk hours about NEXXTCAR, man. There's so many things that go on. There's so many stories every race, so I'm pretty excited for it.
There's never a dull moment. Like, we won't just have one race where like, all right, let's go 100 laps and like no caution free. No, there's something that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna try and improve the podcast too. That way, when we're talking about things, I'm gonna try and see like if I can't sit down and use my editing software and make like a quote unquote recap of the race I can play in like the background and stuff instead of just us three on the screen all the time. Or like if we're talking about a certain incident or something, I can have that showing up on the screen. I feel like, the league's improving. It's time to improve the podcast as well. We can't just let the podcast stay in the Stone Age and the league moves into the 21st century. So
is the bonehead move of the race going to go to Nick Trudeau?
It sure as shit is. Nicholas Trudeau with the bonehead move of the race. Dude, I was messaging him earlier, and he said as soon as he wrecked, the first thing that came to his mind was, well, where's Ron? Like he knew I was gonna say something, and he's like, sure as shit, there he is. Because I keyed up and I was like, Nick, where'd you go? Like, I didn't even know he wrecked, man. Like, I went back and watched the replay to see what happened, and he missed our back bumper. I don't remember who's on my outside. I think Alberto. And he missed our back bumper coming back up on the track by like 2 feet. I mean, I didn't even know he wrecked. We went into the dog leg. He disappeared down low because he cut it, and then he never came back up on the track. And then the yellow flag flew. I was like, Nick, where'd you go? And then all I hear, and then I was like, I think he just killed himself into the wall. And then Tuck goes, well, I sure hope Dale's okay. That's like, Jesus. Oh, here we go.
Well, I mean, he just plowed the inside wall. So I saw that in my rearview mirror. I was like, oh no, that's not good. So,
but hey, that tells you how hard Phoenix was this week. I mean, if I had to say most consistent, I'd probably give Cat or Andrew the most consistent driver usually, but Nick is definitely up there.
I wouldn't give it to Cat this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't none this week, but usually Cat's really consistent.
Cat was consistent at wrecking himself, kind of like I was.
I would say Nick, though, is also one of the more consistent guys. And for Nick to make that bad of a mistake, I mean, he destroyed himself.
Well,
like,
it wasn't,
I just felt how hard it was.
It's not even like it was a mistake. You just couldn't cut that dog leg. You were bottoming out. Like, I wouldn't even really consider that a mistake. A mistake to me is me wrecking 4 times through turns 1 and 2. Like, to me, that's a mistake. But
because I first tried to cut the dog leg trying to catch back Peyton in the cups here, and I learned. I had to shift down to 3rd gear that way I wouldn't hit myself. So
yeah,
it was. If you did not practice it, like if you were just doing it for the first time, then yeah, you would have like had some sort of miscue, like one way or another.
I think it's all about the angle you hit it because I ran it probably 5 or 6 times that night and I didn't have a problem. But I was also entering low, and every time I saw one of you guys do it that messed up, y'all waited kind of late to do it and kind of turned sharp, and it would just send y'all. So very, very tricky. I mean, that's part of Phoenix, though. I mean, you
Mhm.
see in real life they have the same problems. It is always a what they call it. It's not calamity corner, but they always have interesting things happen. It cost Chase Elliott a chance at the championship last year, so
Yeah,
hey, it's part of
I don't know why Matt wasn't cutting the dog leg starting where he did on that restart. He'd have been fine if he was cutting it all the way back there out of turn 4.
a good
On
point.
which restart?
On a restart that you got caught cheating.
Yeah,
No.
If
I
you were
did not
cutting the
get caught
dog leg
cheating.
every time where you did that
The
restart, you'd have
rule
been all
stated-
right.
No,
the rule that we set in place
nope,
before the
nope.
race
After
started
the
was
race, nope.
that you
After the race,
cannot go below the yellow line before the
nope.
start zone or
That was
before
not the rule.
the start finish line. And did I comply
Okay.
with the rule?
No.
Yes, I
I mean,
did.
no, that was not the rule. Nick said that after the race, and I don't know where the heck he got that from. But the rule all season has been you can't pass below somebody before the line. And here, old Tuck in replay is under a truck before the line, as they call it every track, not just
Nope.
Phoenix. But hey,
I was still at his left rear
no,
when we
that
hit
is
the start finish
under.
line.
That is under. Your
If we went
nose.
back and looked, you hit the same part of the Phoenix sign that I did when you were cutting it when I did too.
But the big
So
difference is you laid back and jumped it under somebody. I wasn't under anybody in front of me. I wasn't 3 wide like you were. There's a difference. I didn't pass anybody when I did it.
hey, I'm a champion. You're a champion. So
Hey,
it's all said and done. Okay. So
I'm just saying, man.
let's take our Mickey Mouse clubhouse and move on to
Mickey
I'm
Mouse
okay.
Clubhouse.
Come on now. I don't know about Mickey Mouse, man.
I'm just joking.
But
All right, Ronnie, what we got now?
anything else for NEXXTCAR? Besides, everyone commenting, we got 117 people watching. If you guys want to see things on the podcast, just comment them. Obviously we listen to what people give us. David gave us good feedback. That's why we're focusing a lot more on NEXXTCAR. Any feedback you guys have, please comment down below. Let one of us know, and we'll make sure we try to implement that in some way. But all right, I guess now it's kind of NASCAR time. I think we're kind of done with the NEXXTCAR stuff.
That's about right.
For right now. Obviously, we'll get into that later. NASCAR. Things are starting to heat up, especially
Playoffs
with some of the rumors, man. Let's start off with those before we get to the playoffs and all the juicy stuff. I'm seeing now where Noah Gragson might be out at Legacy Motorsports next season. Now there's talk of John Hunter Nemechek coming in.
Yeah, like that makes a lot of sense if you really sit back and think. I mean, that announcement where Legacy is going to Toyota, I mean, that kind of came out of left field, but then, here we're like, what, a month after that announcement, maybe even a little bit more. Here we are, and there's a little bit of a rumors swirling that John Hunter could get a promotion while Noah gets kind of kicked. And me and Tuck kind of talked about it before the podcast. Like, when I read that, I was kind of shocked. I was like, wow. Like, me personally, I think both Noah and John Hunter both have the potential and talent that they could become champions one day.
Mm-hmm.
But it surprises me that Legacy is willing to kick Noah out that quick because this season's not on Noah. If anybody thinks it's on Noah, you're wrong. Because it's just kind of a lame duck year. Everybody knows they're changing manufacturers. Chevy's not giving them anything anymore. So it's not on Eric Jones, it's not on Noah. But I mean, I could see it though. Toyota's always interesting with driver development, and everybody talks about, let's get John Hunter's first guy up for when Joe Gibbs have a spot. Well, I mean, you sit there and think about it. I know Martin Truex has talked about retirement and stuff. I don't think he's actually going to retire. Honestly, there's a good chance he could run 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Who knows? Like, Martin Truex doesn't have to retire anytime soon. Same with Danny Hamlin. Yep. So if they don't feel like Joe Gibbs is going to have a spot anytime soon, they're going to have to make him a spot. And I know there's been little things with Bubba like swirling, but I doubt it. Tyler Reddick's going to be stuck. So the only Toyota place left is going to be Legacy, and Eric Jones ain't going to leave. So kind of leaves Noah. So I could see it. I could also see this kind of tying into the colleague's decision. I mean, Noah had a good relationship with colleague in the past and even drove their, next gen cars. So maybe the reason Justin Haley got the boot is because I mean Noah has a little bit more popularity, maybe a little bit more funding, and has talent. I would argue might be a better prospect than Justin. So that would all make sense. That would definitely be a shockwave in NASCAR.
What do you think the chances are of both colleague cars being open next season? Obviously, Haley's going to be open, but AJ had a very interesting decision this week to go race the Xfinity race in the midst of this battle for the playoffs for the Cup Series. He's still in the battle, and
But
he's going to
they
go race
stated-
there.
They had stated that AJ like way beforehand was going to do this. That even if he
Oh, really?
wasn't. So they said this way back in like April that he was going to do this no matter. So it wasn't like it was like a split decision to make.
Gotcha.
Like they already made this way back.
Okay,
So
I hadn't heard that.
it looks bad on paper,
Right.
but in reality, like they had already like talked about it. So
But still, NASCAR, one thing's for sure, plans can change. We see that all the time. So, they know. I mean, they saw it, after they left, last week, AJ's, 18 points or whatever it was behind the cutoff. And if he goes race that race, he can't qualify in practice. That's a really interesting call. And they decided it's worth it. Let's go do it. And of course, they have brake problems before AJ really didn't have a shot. But I think it's an interesting call, but it's almost like colleague accepted defeat. Like it's almost like they knew Chevy was going to be bad, and Chevy was. Chevy was pretty terrible at Richmond. I mean, they were just all kind of bad. I think the only outliers like Chase ran okay at certain times, and Kyle randomly gets top 5, sure, whatever. But overall, they were really bad. I mean, heck, all Stewart Haas cars beat all of the Hendrick cars. I can't,
For the
bro.
first
last
time in a
that
long time.
happened, it's got to be the first time forever. Like, good lord. Stewart Haas has been terrible. So.
no, Stuart Haas is only good at Virginia short tracks.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean,
Richmond
but
Martinsville.
the good news for AJ though, the only thing I don't like about it is the people he's racing for are good at it. But the good thing for AJ is he's really good at road courses. So I know Bubba had a great race at Richmond, and he's got a really big gap. But we have 2 road courses, and Bubba's pretty bad at road courses, so that gap's probably going to go down. But Michael McDowell and Chase Elliott both are really good at it. And so is AJ. So those guys, it's going to be a heck of a battle coming down the end. Like, I really feel like we're going to go to Daytona. We're going to have like 4 or 5 guys that are kind of pretty close. It's all going to depend on who survives. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got McDowell mixed in there too. He's obviously won at Daytona before in his 500 in what, 2021, 22? 21, right?
21.
Yeah. So obviously he knows how to get it done, but I forget where I was going with that. Go ahead, Tuck.
Are we going to the playoffs? Or are we still talking about Noah Gregson?
All right, let's just continue with Richmond here. We talk about the bonehead move of the race going to Nick. The bonehead move of the race was Brad this week, man. The last pit stop choked that away. Had he have been able to enter his pit stop and not lock up those tires and get turned in there properly, he may have been going to victory lane instead of Buescher.
I think Brad had the best car the whole
100%.
day.
Absolutely.
Both him and Buescher were the top 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think you say that's a bonehead move. I mean, it's a mistake, yeah, but it's not like it. It wasn't like a terrible mistake, like he overshot the pit box. He just barely.
He basically did overshoot it. That's why he got that hard angle in there.
Oh yeah, but like it gave up like what 4 seconds, but those 4 seconds were beneficial in Buescher getting the win though. So, but I think one sneaky guy, the sneaky team that they get to Phoenix, the Ford camp. Because didn't Keselowski run good there? I could see RFK like sneaking out something. I'm not saying. I'm just saying like it's a hot take, but
right.
If one of the RFK cars somehow see one of them like stealing that championship, but that's for another day to talk about. But Keselowski, lo and behold, I kind of feel bad for the guy because Buescher now has 2 wins while Keselowski's been there. I think we can all agree that Brad Keselowski probably is still a better driver than what Chris Buescher is. So, but I think Brad's first win is coming in his own equipment, and I could definitely see it done this week in his home. So,
Yeah, he loves Michigan. He's great there in the past.
Yep.
But
And
the
they're gonna-
guy I think that's going to be the guy to watch this week is Happy Harvick, man. I think Harv could be truly the Ford to watch this week.
Yeah, I think Ford is kind of peaking at the right time. We'll see if it can carry over. Ford has historically been really good here in Michigan, so I could see it. I mean, and don't sleep on not just only a Harvick, but really SHR. I could see them. They have some momentum for the first time in forever here. I mean, heck, Ryan Preece got top 5 last week. I mean, almost all the cars finished top 10, all finished top 11. So, I mean, Harvick's gonna have speed for sure. Brad's gonna have speed in Michigan. Don't count out other Fords. Could we get that upset winner next week in Michigan that changes this whole playoff talk? It could very well happen.
Spoiler alert, there is for our podcast picks. I know we didn't talk about it. I think we'll probably end up doing it, but Kevin Harvick will be a lock pick tonight. So.
Oh, 100%.
So, but yeah,
It's a darn shame I get the first pick since you guys won the championships.
well, Kat texted me and Kat texted me and Kat wants Kevin Harvick. So that's what I was
Well,
saying.
Cat's not here, so he gets the
He
last
would-
pick.
He said he still wants. He says, and I quote, he says, "I still want to do the picks though." but but yeah, I mean, I will say this though, the Richmond race was not terrible as what some of the short track races had been in the past. Though. So, I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't.
It was a snooze
bad.
fest.
It was. You still had you had guys.
There
running
was
different
action,
lines.
absolutely.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was like single file. Like
Right.
There was legit racing like throughout the. It wasn't just, and he had mixed in all the strategy that you had too. So it wasn't a terrible race, as what some people have been saying.
Yeah. I mean, the only cautions were the stage breaks, right? I don't think there was a single caution.
Gregson wrecked Suarez.
That's
the
right,
only-
he did. Yeah.
As
Yeah.
the only,
Incident.
actual incident caution, there was an entire.
But you still had guys beating and bang off each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
just look at old Bubba Wallace. He ain't too happy with his team owner right now. He's
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people happy with him.
No. So.
yeah.
All right.
Chastain's happy with him
Hey, Ross is just
because
happy
now this is
because-
getting the heat off of Chastain, and now it's switching over to his arch enemy.
Speaking of Ross Chastain, like he has been
He's washed up.
Incognito.
He's washed
like,
up.
The last
He
few
got that
weeks since
fluke.
his-
He got that fluke
Come on
win,
now.
and now he's just washed
I
up,
wouldn't
and
call that fluke win. That's his best track. But
now what is it? 17 races in a row now. He's qualified outside of the top 30. Obviously, that's an exaggeration, but
I will say this though: Trackhouse has not looked good
not at all.
at all since Shane Van Gisbergen won.
I was just gonna say
They're
They have
cold.
not
we got to
looked
talk about
good
that
at
too.
all.
We got to talk about him. He
Yeah.
announced he's coming NASCAR racing next year.
That is true. I
That's
saw that.
gonna
He
be-
said he didn't know it is going to be part time or full time though. But he said
No, he said full time. He's doing full time. He's done
Yeah.
with the Australia Supercar racing. He
So
said that.
who's going to get him and who will buy a charter? That's the real
Who
question.
knows?
What if Colleague picks him up? We're talking about that second
I could see that.
car.
I could
We'll
see that.
see.
There's a team that I still could link him to if one or two drivers leave. So
All right. We talked before we get to the playoffs and everything. We talked about it a little bit. Justin Haley, man, going to Rick Ware Racing. Are you still the one and only member of the Justin Haley fan club?
all right, I got a story to tell. So literally, I have been the curse of like every like person's like merchandise I get. Like I get Reds gear, I get like Pacers gear. I legit went to the Browns game up in Cleveland when Brandon Whedon started his last game. I bought a Brandon Whedon. Then the next week he's cut. So like, okay, so I've been screwed like that. So,
and then we start
I did-
sponsoring Van
I did-
Alsten EDNFs every time.
Yeah, I feel bad. Yeah.
he
Anyway,
wins.
but-
You sponsor him. He has yet to finish a race yet.
Yeah, we're not allowed to sponsor him again. I feel bad.
I'm waiting for that email to come out to you. We
You're
hate
not
to,
allowed.
yeah. We don't want your sponsorship anymore.
But anyway, go back to Justin Haley. So, as my dog is frantically, but yeah. So Yeah, so I bought all of Justin's like merch at freaking Atlanta when we go down there, and then the next week, literally days after, Justin Haley announces he's going to Rick Ware Racing. Like, I cannot make this up, like legit. So yes, I'll still support him. Like that's not going to change. But I don't even if I can't buy a damn Justin Haley shirt like on the internet for calling, I sure as Sam's hell won't get one for Rick Ware Racing. So like, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I know
Oh,
that he said
God.
he has like the internal support from RFK and how the alliance been closer than what people like actually realize. So
It hasn't
so and
shown.
then
Yeah, I
but I will say this though,
Newman's
Justin
doing decent
Haley,
though.
he has. Uh, I will say this though, Cole Custer had that great run a couple weeks ago. He kind of did screwed himself over. I forget what he did. I think he hit the wall. But also there has not been a staple driver for Rick Ware Racing. You've had Cody Ware, and you've had JJ Yaley and Brennan Poole and Garrett Smithley. You haven't had a guy with as much talent as Justin Haley get in one of these cars. So we will see what if he can improve it
Newman.
slightly. It's
yeah,
well,
but
Newman's
Newman's
at the
top
tail end of
five.
his career. Newman hasn't really.
I'd still say
A guy,
Newman is very talented.
he is. I'm
If
just
you
saying,
put
like,
him in a Hendrick car or something like that, he's winning.
yeah, I'll agree. But I'll just say that. But like, you haven't. I think we can all agree that the guys that have raced for Rick Ware Racing, there hasn't been as great as a driver that's put. I'm not saying great, but just as with talent as Justin
100%.
Haley. That's going to go in a Rick Ware Racing car, back supported with also an alliance with K. So I could see Justin Haley run in between like that 23rd to 30th place, like on a good day next year, and I think that's a win-win. Because let's face it, Furniture Row wasn't a. You're rude.
I like how your
Furniture Row.
dog's barks are coming over more than your own words are.
No, hold on.
I will say to defend Justin, like it's a great move for Rick Ware. It's a great move. They're finally getting a guy with a bit of talent that has potential. I love it for Rick Ware. I was one of the guys that super trolled Justin Haley because it feels like it's a career ender. Like it's like, what are you doing? This is, I would say, one of, if not the worst team in NASCAR in the Cup Series, and the only team I can say worse is Live Fast, but they're doing a whole different thing. Rick Ware, it's pretty bad.
That's not a team.
Now,
That's a money grab charter.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly. So, but to defend Justin Haley, I will say this. There's a lot of things going down in the sport in the next couple of years. The TV deal and everything, the team's charter talks, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of things going on. And we're talking about all these people that in this, free agency pool. I mean, we're talking about SVG. I mean, Carson Hocevar's getting thrown around. Now John Hunter's joined the mix. All kinds of names. We can go on and on about all the names we've heard of rumors about where are they going. Hell, Matt DiBenedetto might go back to Cup. Who the hell knows? There is a lot
I'd be all
going
right
on.
with that.
I'm just saying there is a lot going on in NASCAR right now. If Justin Haley truly got kicked from his colleague right, he's gone. As a, not just as a driver, you got to think more of just for him personally. It's job security. Brad Keselowski wanted Justin Haley in his little, tree branch of a, whatever organization in Rick Ware for a reason. He had to have something because Justin even admitted that Brad had a big part of him going over there. So if you see what RFK is doing, they are, surging a bit. Even if their alliance only upgrades the car by 5-10 positions, Justin Haley could easily finish top 25 in the points next season.
And that's huge.
If it all goes right, which would be huge. And eventually, Brad, he's not super old, but eventually Brad's going to have to go somewhere. Maybe RFK expands. Who are they going to look at? Probably the guy they're sitting there developing. So you got to give Justin credit. Instead of, hoping for better, he took job security with potential for his career, and that's huge in NASCAR. There's not a lot of multi-year deals. I mean, heck, we hear stars that sign one-year deals. Hell, Kyle Busch can even resign a deal with his team. So for job security for Justin is huge. He's going to be here for a while, and for that talk to make you feel a little bit better, that's really big for your guy.
Does he have a sponsor? Like
he's got FOE. He's got the Fraternal
Order of Eagles.
But I don't know if they'll go full time. But I don't really know how that's gonna work out. But I will say this though, Keselowski is getting up there. So, and Justin's in his he's in his early 20s. I think he's younger than. I think he's a year younger than me. But this Peyton chews down his victory watermelon. But
Yeah, I'm still talking.
but yeah. So I could see. I mean, Josh Berry is going to be technically a rookie next year, and he's early 30s. Greg Biffle
What'd you say?
in his early 30s.
Yeah, it cut out there.
Your
a little bit,
audio. We're getting about
dang
one
it,
every
man.
He's talking
6
about
words.
All right, this is stupid, but anyway, so I could definitely see Justin Haley somehow, some way getting to RFK in the next five plus years. So if he's moving over to Ford with his backing, I'm not saying that's like a given, but I could just possibly see it though.
Mhm.
So, and I think that's the best move for his career right now, because he knew that he's got stability backing with Ford and RFK and Rick Ware Racing technically. So, but I think it was a multi-year contract, so it's just probably 2-year deal. So before anything really happened, guaranteed 2 years. So, and like what Tin said, he wasn't guaranteed anything at college. Let's say he waits and he gets told, "Hey, I'm not racing," and like that seat's filled. So like, where's he gonna go then? So he's scrambling for something. So he did what he had to do for this time to like guarantee himself a ride. Granted, it's probably the second to worst ride in all of Cup Series, but at least it is a ride and he paid. So
Yeah, you can just go back in history and ask guys like Martin Truex Jr., Kurt Busch, and newly Ross Chastain. Just ask them how important it was for them just to be in a seat. Like those guys, there was years that they were in terrible cars. They were like irrelevant. They're just kind of fillers. They looked done, but they kept grinding. They had seats in the Cup Series, and got opportunities, and eventually got to the point where they're competitive again. And that's what Justin Haley has. He has that opportunity. It's hard to get to the Cup Series, and to have a seat there is extremely important.
What about, before we move on to our next topic here, I want to continue with the whole rumors. What do you think the chances of Almirola possibly retiring at the end of the season? The biggest person that I've seen to take his spot is McDowell. What do you think the chances of that being put into effect?
I think that's probably greatly that Almirola retires after this year, from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this though, for McDowell, he is like 12 plus spots better in the 34 car than the 10 car right now.
Yeah.
So if you're McDowell, do you really want to change over to HR when you know that you're right now in a playoff car?
But I don't know. Are they going to continue? Because obviously Harvick was their flagship.
Right.
Is Barry going to have the same effect?
Barry's going to have a learning curve. I don't see Barry
Right.
going out lighting the
So
fire,
they're going to be
so
looking for that veteran.
this is where the Shane Van Gisbergen theory. I could see
Shane
Ford
is
and
not
them
a veteran.
Everybody,
He is not a veteran, but he has won a cup race and he could get you wins.
It
on
was a road course.
Tony likes drivers.
He's basically Boris
Tony-
said.
Tony wants drivers and
With
not
talent.
money.
Yeah,
With
he
talent.
Okay.
He wants
So
drivers with talent.
so how many there's 7 road courses on the schedule. Why are you not guaranteeing
McDowell's
at least
always-
maybe 2 wins?
But McDowell's always at the front on road courses, super
That's true.
speedways. He's always
But
right
McDowell's
there.
never won a road course though.
Okay.
Shane
But
Van
he's
Gisbergen won literally the first races.
but
So
all right,
why-
but that's a legit road course though. That's what Australian supercars run. You get them on Sonoma,
Right.
Watkins Glen with the dips and the dives and everything, completely different.
We'll see, because Shane Van Gisbergen's running at Indy. Let's say he was Indy, like then
I don't think he would
then
be competitive.
I just see him. If you put him in the 10 car,
I don't think it's happening. I just
No,
don't think
I don't think
can't
so
see
either.
Ginsburg.
I'm just
I don't-
saying.
especially Stuart Haas being in the seat they're in. Like, do you
Mm-hmm.
really want to take like a shot like out of left field? I ain't talking about Hail Mary pass on
Right.
Van Gisbergen. I don't see it. It doesn't feel like I don't
No.
get the vibes from Tony that he would do that
Mm-mm.
personally.
He wants that
and
veteran. He needs that
now-
veteran.
But
And
also,
McDowell's that guy.
but also,
I don't see
Almirola-
McDowell. Though. I don't think
Almirola
McDowell leads.
is. Sorry, Almirola has sponsorship with Smithfield. If he retires, that money's all gone. Shane Van Gisbergen has all those sponsors with Red Bull and all the stuff
Red
Australia.
Bull
So
wants
that's
not. Red Bull
sponsorship.
will not get back into NASCAR. They've already said they're too committed to Formula One and off-road racing. They will not get back into NASCAR.
I think it's a personal sponsorship. So I think if he's tied with them, they will come over.
But then, yeah, he's personally tied because of what he does now, not for future.
But if you're not a sponsor, would you not want to like come with him over to NASCAR when he's literally the one guy that's batting 1,000?
Probably not with what
NASCAR
with what NASCAR did to Red Bull Racing. Basically took them for everything that they had, and then that's when they really started focusing on F1.
Well, Red Bull just sold off their stuff to BK, and that was just a disaster, though. So,
if SVG ends up on Stewart Haas, it is strictly because it's just like Danica Patrick, and it's just like Eric Almirola, where they both had heavy funding, and you hope that they got the up end of their talent. You were hoping they'd be okay.
The dude won his first race in his first start. How is that related to Danica Patrick?
That's a little out there.
But I'm just saying I'm saying he would have to bring money because he's got to bring money.
Yeah.
And like that's just simple as it could be. He's gonna have to bring his own sponsorships for Tony to do that because it seems like what the 10 card's been is it's been the money card. Like you got sponsorship. That's why I have a bad feeling Riley could sneak into the 10. I don't think it'll happen. Hopefully not. But he has money, so he have a
Monster.
shot.
Monster obviously wants up there again.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. But if I can see Shane getting it if he can get the sponsorship to come with him. If not, I don't think there's a chance in hell, to be honest. But I get my point. Comparing to Danica is a little disrespectful. I'm just bringing out the fact of it's the risk car. Like this is Tony taking a shot, and if he wants to take a shot, he took a shot with Danica, didn't work out. I mean, Eric Roll looks a big risk. But this is if he wants to take a shot, at least he brings sponsorship. So at very worst, you got a floor. Like his floor is up because at least he's bringing in money with sponsors. If he goes out there and sucks ass and finishes, outside top 25 every race, which is kind of like what Stewart Haas is already doing, it won't be that big of a deal.
I think the biggest deciding factor is: are you really gonna want 4 quote unquote new guys all at the same time? Still trying to learn. Obviously, Barry performed fantastically in the 9 car, but that was Hendrick. Stewart is not on Hendrick's level. All right, at the beginning of the season, SHR was not on Hendrick's level. So now you're going to have this guy, if they do sign SVG, you're going to have 4 guys still trying to learn Cup Series, essentially. That's where I think the McDowell comes in. He needs that veteranship. He needs that. I'm not saying McDowell's going to come into that 10 car and immediately go out there and win a second Daytona 500, place second in the points. But he needs that guy that can take these guys under his wing, like Harvick did, and just kind of show these guys the ropes.
I as a Tony Stewart fan, if I had to guess if Eric Almirola does retire, if I had to guess who gets the car, I'm pretty confident it's gonna be Cole Custer. I think Cole Custer gets it back. I'm about 80% confident on that. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty sure he has experience in Cup. He went back to Xfinity. I get that. He still is running the next gen car so often. Cole Custer, I get it, but he makes a lot of sense.
What has Custer done to get that ride back?
I'm just telling you.
He's won Xfinity races.
I'm just telling you.
He won.
If I had to put my money on it, I'm putting 80% on Cole Custer. I would put 15% on Stewart Haas trying to steal one of the 3 front row guys, whether it be whoever doesn't get a drive, which is either Michael McDowell, Todd Gilliland, or Zane Smith. 2 of those guys are going to be racing for that team next year. One of them's not. So whoever's not, I give that guy a 15% chance to race for SHR. And then that 5%, that's Shane Van Gisbergen. That's where I'm sitting right now.
This could also SHR could also factor into Shane Van Gisbergen. Let's say Almirola does get out, and let's say they sell their chart to Trackhouse for Shane Van Gisbergen to drive the.
Well,
so then they downgraded 3 cars.
Do you think he'll go to Trackhouse?
He's already with them, so I mean, why wouldn't?
Well, yeah, for that race, but
Justin Marks is not afraid to spend money, so I mean, why isn't he out?
Well, obviously not. He's keeping Chastain.
Well, Chastain made the final.
Having to repair all them vehicles every week.
Yeah, right. He just earned
That's
a big
Daniel
old
Suarez.
sponsor.
That's not Ross Chastain.
Ross Chastain just earned, while we were gone this whole month, just earned one of the biggest sponsors in NASCAR and Busch. So I think Ross Chastain's doing a pretty good job of bringing in some money. Thank you very much.
It's like I said in that when he announced it.
Yeah, yeah.
Coincidence? I don't think so.
Whatever.
Bush came
We'll
out with
see.
their LGBTQ pride
my
BS,
God.
and
Oh,
then they
whatever.
immediately signed with Chastain. Coincidence? I think
Okay,
not.
Whoa! This is elated. This is not a political podcast, Ronald.
We're getting ridiculous here.
But,
I just, yeah.
but
All right, do you want to give playoff predictions, like who's in, who's
yeah, absolutely.
4
Let's do it.
weeks? Okay. So I will go with a. Okay, well, let's do this. We'll give one hot that will be in and one that will not. So
Okay.
How about that? One that will not for me will be Bubba Wallace. He will not make the playoffs.
What?
One that will be the likes of Austin Cindric.
Oof.
This dude is crazy.
Does he reckon his teammate for another win?
Austin Cindric has 2 road courses coming up.
And seriously, why he's
He finished 2nd last year. Granted, it was all that drama. He's won the Indy road course in the Xfinity Series. He's won the Daytona 500. He was in contention to win the fall Daytona race last year, until Austin Dillon decided to say, "Excuse me, pardon me, coming through." So you have races coming up that Austin chances to win at, and has won at the tracks. So I could see definitely Austin Cindric winning at one of those and sneaking his way in the playoffs. And then if that cut line moves, Bubba Wallace is right there. And then here comes this guy in this 9 car that's back.
He's too far from Bubba, though.
He's
Bubba's
too
got a
far from
match.
Bubba, but that cuts down Bubba, and I could see, let's say, Allmendinger running great at the road courses, because these races that coming up, Bubba sucks at. He's terrible at Watkins Glen. He's terrible at Indy road course. So, and I don't think he's ran good at what's the other track that I'm thinking of?
The only shot he has a chance at Daytona.
He's run good at Michigan too. So I just don't see him running good on the road courses. So that's 2 out of the 4 where all the other guys have skills at.
I understand where you're going with your predictions. I understand the thought process. Like, Bubba sucks at road courses. That makes sense. Austin Cindric is good on road courses and has won Daytona. Okay, so your predictions make sense. However, Bubba, all he's got to do, there's so many guys that are good at road courses. So, before, if it's Chase Elliott, old times, yes, I'd be worried if I'm Bubba with Chase. Chase could go out here and earn 17 stage points in one road course, and then Bubba would be screwed. The problem is Chase has got to beat all these guys that are really good at road courses now. Chase is going to be lucky to get 10 stage points at each of the road courses. And Bubba has a 70-something point lead on Chase. And Bubba's going to probably get stage points at Daytona because he's really good at that kind of racing. I just don't see Chase being able to point to Bubba. Now, I do think Chase can catch McDowell. I do think he can. Bubba, though, it's going to take Bubba just being... He's going to have to literally do terrible at the road courses and crash at Daytona, and Chase do really good for that to be possible. If I had to give my guys... I think Bubba's in. I really do. The only way Bubba isn't is if we have...
New winners.
A new winner and Bubba runs bad, and honestly, if Michael McDowell just runs pretty good, and Ty Gibbs, we haven't talked about Ty Gibbs this whole time. Ty Gibbs has had a lot more speed lately. He's been really consistent. He's kind of rolling there. He's slowly creeping up. I think Ty Gibbs is somebody, if no new winners happens, has a hell of a chance to make the playoffs. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I'll lock in Bubba, and I will lock out. I think I'm gonna go the easy one. I'm gonna lock out my boy Suarez. I say my boys, my Trackhouse boys, but lately Trackhouse, we just talked about a little bit earlier, they're just off. I don't know what's going on.
I think you missed the point of Tucker's thing.
Oh, did I?
Aren't you picking someone that's in the playoffs right now, falling out, and someone out of the playoffs moving in? Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were.
Good job, you idiot.
Oh, okay.
Taking somebody out.
My bad.
Putting
I
somebody
missed
in.
it. Okay, well, we're taking somebody out. I'm gonna say McDowell misses. Like, I understand McDowell has road courses coming up, and he's gonna run good there. He is, but I worry about like Michigan. Michigan's gonna be the big teller of this, and how good like Chase Elliott and those other guys around him do at road courses, and how good he does. Obviously, those stage points are gonna matter there. But Michigan's the last like normal track kind of ish left. After that, we got 2 road courses at a super speedway. Like, you don't talk about freaking throwing a Hail Mary. Who the hell knows what kind of those 3 weeks? So Michael McDowell really needs to leave Michigan with about the same position he's in right now for me to be confident. And I just don't see it. I don't. I worry about him. So I'm gonna say Michael McDowell out. And to go in, uh, I think it's a battle honestly between Gibbs and Chase. I really do. Um, I think that's going to be the battle between the two, unless we have some crazy winner. I could see like a Stewart Haas racing car still win here at the end, but I'm still on the crowd that really thinks Chase Elliott has a hell of a chance to point his way in. I really do. However, Ty Gibbs is pretty good at road courses. I mean, hell, he won like his first ever start at a road course, or was his first, second? I can't remember. But the Daytona road course, he won in Xfinity.
It was his first career start in Xfinity. Was
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. It was on a road course. I mean, the guy can race good there. I'm gonna say Gibbs makes it. That might be a little bold. He's only got 22 points on Chase, but I'm gonna say Gibbs finds a way in because Joe Gibbs can focus so much on him. I think Hendrick's gonna run in the problem of they have 2 cars out right now, so they can't just throw the book it Chase. I mean, you also got Bowman down there who could fluke into a win, but so I'm gonna say Dylan or Dylan Ty Gibbs makes it.
And Bubba, or not Bubba, Bowman's won at Michigan before, right?
He
No,
has.
Bowman's never won in Michigan.
Has he not?
I
Or
thought
is
he
Auto
had.
Club? Auto
Auto
Club.
Club, okay.
You're thinking Auto Club. They're similar, but we'll see. What's going to be funny though, I think at the end of the season, there's a really good chance for Chase. And the only reason why I didn't say Chase, and it's going to end up being this, is that when he took out Denny Hamlin at I think it's Charlotte or whatever, I think he's going to miss the playoffs because of that. If that doesn't happen, I mean that's a whole race he missed. Like I understand his injury, and I mean that's obvious. Like if the injury doesn't happen, Chase, we wouldn't be talking about it. But that incident right there, like add insult on the injury, like, literally or whatever. Um, he took himself out for a week, and that's probably about 20 points if you had to guess on the low end. Like that's a mediocre day for Chase. That's probably what's going to cost him. So it's going to be pretty funny, but pretty bad for Chase when that ends up being the case.
I'm gonna agree with Tuck on half of what he said. I think Bubba's not making the playoffs. Definitely, I don't see where any of these 4 races coming up he is gonna have a legit chance. And I think the guy that's gonna get in there is a name that no one. I'm kind of surprised no one mentioned. Yeah, he hasn't been running great so far, too well on these road courses, but with 2 of them coming up, AJ's definitely a threat, man. So he's going to be my pick to get in, and Bubba's out. I think Bubba's problem is he's going to get into his head a little too much, I think. And I just don't see him being able to, he's not the greatest road course racer. And yeah, he's got a chance at Daytona, but he makes stupid mistakes on super speedways. And I think that's going to be his demise, and that's going to allow AJ to get in there. He's going to win one of those 2 road courses. Calling it now.
I don't know about that, but I will say this for AJ: if he doesn't win one of the road courses, if he makes the playoffs, the reason why AJ will make the playoffs is colleague will. I'm pretty confident is going to have that 13 car at Daytona. I'm sure they'll bring it out and have a 3-car team for that race. And we've seen in Xfinity, colleague is really good at making their drivers work together. If
Until
Justin
Chastain got
Haley,
in there.
Until Atlanta.
whatever. If Justin Haley, I know he did, Atlanta or whatever, but if Justin Haley and probably Chandler Smith, maybe Daniel Hemrick, whoever the hell's in that car, if they work together and really help AJ and they stay out of trouble, they can push AJ in the playoffs, and that I think would be the big reason. Obviously, AJ's going to do the road courses, but like I said, there's a good chance that we go into Daytona with like 4 or 5 guys that are in a pretty damn good shot at the playoffs on points, and it's going to be scratching and calling for every point. If AJ makes it, it's because of that all teamwork.
Watch there be 3 new different winners the next 3 weeks, and then you go into Daytona and like Ty Dillon, like everybody around, and then like Harvick's out.
Forgot you
Dude,
cutting
I
out.
can't hear you.
I know. Are you serious?
You keep cutting out, man.
Literally
but-
we get like one every 6 words.
But that you're making a
Oh,
good point
man.
though. It's crazy to think about. No one's talking about it. Like very well. Let's say next week, like Brad could win Michigan. That's a brand new winner. Bam, that's a spot. Road courses. Chase Elliott and AJ Allmendinger. There's a really good chance that at least one of those win one of the road courses. Very well, both of them could win. That's 3 new winners, and poor old Kevin Harvick and whoever the hell's left, they could be going into Daytona scared to death. We could have the same crap happen last year where a guy who is definitely should be in the playoffs,
2 of them.
he's sweating through.
They shouldn't
whatever.
even
So,
Blaney and Truex, man, they shouldn't have even been in that situation.
we know. We
Sorry.
can talk about
Second and fifth in points should not be. Oh, sorry. One of y'all ain't making it.
Yeah.
like we've talked about before. My personal thing, top 10 points should be
Mhm.
guaranteed. Last 6 should be wild cards. That's just
Agreed.
me. Then Kevin Harvick probably wouldn't be worried about it because I think he's right around 5th or something right now. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Like I said, I think Michigan's going to set up the scene for how crazy it's going to be. Because, like I said, it's the last kind of normal race. It's going to be a big tell because you're going to want to leave Michigan, especially if you're like Bubba. Bubba's going to want to leave with around the same gap he has now. You don't want to mess up there because then you put yourself in the live fire. And, it takes one new winner. I mean, hell, if Ryan Preece wins Richmond right now, we're talking completely different about the playoffs. So, yeah, NASCAR, hey, it's the fun point of the season. This is where the season really, to me, gets started because this is where the intensity really ramps up. There's guys with their seasons on the line, and it's happening. It's go time. You got to do it now. So it's gonna be a crazy month here in NASCAR.
Absolutely. All right. Anyone else got anything? We're close. We are at an hour and a half now.
We talked about a lot, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we got a lot to
It's been
cover.
long time. Yeah, we've had a few weeks off.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true. I will say the only thing we didn't mention is Denny Hamlin. I'm just gonna say it real quick. Denny Hamlin's a hack. Last season, everybody stood up for him with the Ross thing, which is fine. Ross probably deserved it and everything. I understand that. However, you had people argue he did it because it was Ross. That was he wouldn't have done anybody else. I literally heard people say that. Well, shoot fire. We come back here a year later. He pulls the same exact damn thing on Kyle Larson of all people, who's never done a dang thing to Hamlin. Hell, Hamlin's already took him out. Hamlin took him out at freaking Kansas. No, it wasn't as bad, but still, there was
All right.
contact.
He did not
put in
take
the
him
wall.
out at Kansas.
There was
That was for a
contact.
win.
There was contact. That's all I'm saying. I know it wasn't near as bad. I'm just saying. And if I'm Kyle Larson, I'm still a little bit upset about that.
Didn't Larson
But it's
try
not
to
near as
block
bad.
him though?
No,
Yeah.
well, kind of.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He literally was
He-
about to Paul Tracy him into the wall, cut up, and he wasn't clear.
No, I
You need
think
to clip. You need to clip this part of the podcast and then tag Denny Hamlin in it. on Twitter.
my point is Denny Hamlin, say what you want about Ross and everything. He comes back and does the same dang move. That is a non-skillful move. Anybody could do that. I could gas up in the corner and use a car to turn 2. And then to sit here for and it's been over a week now and still claim you didn't even touch him? Are you kidding me? We can see you touch him. Hell, your freaking hood flaps or whatever go up after you touch him. I'm just saying, I love his podcast and everything, and it's great and everything. That is the only thing good about Danny Hamlin. That dude's a joke, and I hope Kyle Larson sends him in the wall. I know Richmond, he kind of made a point, but Danny Hamlin is the biggest hypocrite in NASCAR ever. I mean, swear to God, if anything happens to him, he'll cry and cry and cry. But the second
Denny
he does
Hamlin
anything
and
to someone else,
NASCAR, Peyton Tulluck and NEXXTCAR.
I'm just saying. The second anything happens, or he does anything to someone else, he doesn't want to own up to it, which is crazy. So, just saying, Danny Hamlin's a hack. Always has been, always will be. That's why he doesn't win championships. There you go. I'm done with the podcast. I'm just gonna water me on the rest of the
He
time.
said, "Thank God." All right, Matt, you got anything else to add here before we close her on out?
I don't know how to top that other than if my mic is still working or not. So, but you want to do our picks for this week, since for old time's sake,
Yep, let's
to
do
wrap it up. So you go first, since me and Watermelon Man over here won championships, so we'll give you.
Oh, you're too kind. My lock-in is obviously Harvick. I think
Okay.
he's had a great history of Michigan. I definitely think it's going to continue. And then my sleeper. Would you consider Brad a sleeper? I don't know.
Probably not, but
Yeah, probably not.
Let's look at the odds.
Not really.
Talk about him for a second, and then.
Seeing how depending on who picks who here, I might pick him for my actual winner. I don't think I consider him a sleeper.
All right, my
Let's see.
sleeper. You know what? All right, now.
All right, here we go. Brad Keselowski for the Fires Keepers Casino 400 is 25-1. So he's
not a
like
sleeper.
the 3, 4, 6, 7.
Yeah, he's not
14th.
a sleeper.
He's the 14th. He's the top 14th choice.
Yeah, not a
Wow,
sleeper.
So
That's
You know what? Just for old time's
I would
sake.
say-
You know what? Just for old time's sake, since we haven't done the picks for a while.
my god.
Oh my god.
Spire Motorsports, Corey LaJoy at number 7, going to victory lane.
You gotta change your lock to Blaney.
Ridiculous.
All right, near you. All right, I'll just say Cats. So Cat had Harvick as his lock, and he had Ty Gibbs. Sleep.
Okay. See, that's a good one.
So I will say this though. I'll just keep this short and sweet. I will go for my lock. I will go Martin Truex Jr. And then my sleeper. I've used this guy as a sleeper in the past. I don't see him running
Unbelievable.
good. I don't. You don't know who I'm gonna say. Is my mic going out?
No, I was just saying that because
There you
you've
go.
used the guy in the past.
I have. I would say this guy's a sleeper. He's run good at Michigan, but I forget. Yeah, he got wrecked out at the stage end. He
Oh,
was running top
good old
5.
80.
I'll say Austin Dillon as my
Yeah.
sleeper.
That is the worst pick I think we've ever had in the podcast history. And I picked Cody Ware one week.
If he wins the race, I'm coming back to this.
Yeah, you're gonna clip that. We've done a lot of clips, so hey, maybe I'll be by my words. But okay, well it's pretty easy for me. Pick for the week, I'm gonna take Brad. They just had, the wake up race for them. I mean, like bam, here we are, RFK, and they're going to Michigan, and they're really good at working together. I could see like Ross and Suarez were really good here last year, and they worked together, and it was hard to get by them. I could see RFK if they're strong working together, and Chris Buescher will probably just kind of push him. So I could see them dominating the race and Brad kind of cruising to a win. So I'm gonna pick Brad. And speaking of Trackhouse for my sleeper, is the Watermelon Man considered a sleeper since how he hasn't
No.
finished in top 10 in like a month and a half?
Absolutely not.
It's
No.
not a sleeper. Okay, then I'll take his
No.
teammate. I'll take his teammate then Dale Suarez. They were too strong here last year. Like I said, if it wasn't for Christopher Bell, they probably win that race, one of them. Except Christopher Bell doesn't, I guess, forgot how to drive a corner, whatever. So I'm gonna take Daniel Suarez. I know I just said he's not gonna make the playoffs, but he's a sleeper. Okay, so I'm gonna throw one the win. I think this, ironically, is maybe his best shot. Like I know we're going to road courses and he's won them and stuff. I don't think he's going to win there, and I think he has to win at this point. He's not running good enough to point his way in unless they really wake up. So I think Daniel Suarez is going to be kind of all in this week, except Daytona, but anybody can win there. So I think if Daniel's going to make the playoffs, it's going to happen this week. So I'm going to pick Suarez as a leader.
Okay. All right. Anyone else got anything to add?
Does this end the season for the podcast?
It does.
Technically?
It does.
Well, I know we missed a part of the season, but it was a great season at NEXXTCAR and the podcast. And, just like the league, the podcast is going to be back and even better next season. So cheers to that.
I don't know. Dude, we're good. It's fun to be back though. We haven't done this in a while, but hopefully we can keep doing this at least if not every week, every other week though.
Absolutely. All right, well, that's going to do it here for the final podcast here of Season 3 of the NEXXTCAR podcast. It was a long one, but we had a lot to cover for sure. There's no doubt about it. But it might be the off season, but we're still going to be very busy in NEXXTCAR. We got to get the draft and everything set up. We got to get some recruiting done. So all that's going to be coming up pretty soon. We're going to have our draft day just like last year and the year before. So definitely stay tuned and keep an eye out for that because, yeah, it might be the off season, but it's going to be very busy for us. But that's going to do it here for the final podcast of Season 3. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your week, and good night.